joyous scenes at the end of round 5. A good crowd here at Thruxton, despite the weather. Back to Roger Burnett on the grid then for round 6.
The riders line up for round 6 exactly as they did for round 5. However, there are spots of rain in the air and black clouds all around us. That's going to cause a dilemma for the teams with tyre choice. They don't know whether to go for wets or for dries yet. But if round 6 is as good as round 5 was, we're certainly in for a cracker. Over to you, Barry.
Thank you, Roger. And the tension here is very high indeed, because these uncertain weather conditions make life very tricky. And of course, what do the riders do? That's always a dilemma. But let me tell you, what Chris Walker does when the lights go green is lead the race. It's the only way Chris Walker knows how to ride a bike. The number 2 Suzuki. He nails it from the start, and through the complex for the first time, Chris Walker leads, slotting into second place. It's number 4 again, Neil Hodgson. Then it's the Ducati of John Reynolds. We're on board now with Chris Walker as he comes out of the complex, out of Seagrave, heading down towards Noble, the left-hander. He'll turn it in here. 5th gear at this point, down 1 gear for Noble, sweeping through, and then the long, long right of Goodwood all the way round to Church. And this circuit at Thruxton really works the right-hand side of the tyres incredibly hard. And the first race finishers, James Hayden's tyre had almost fallen to pieces. Matt, this is, can you feel the bike moving underneath you on these right handles?
Oh, the corner speed is so quick at Thruxton. You can feel all the chassis flexing a little bit, the tyres giving the feedback. It's a very lively ride.
4th place, number 8, Steve Hislop. Is it going to be 3rd? He's looking hard at number 3, John Reynolds. Race leader, I remind you, number 2 on the Suzuki, Chris Walker. In 3rd place, it's Reynolds. 2nd place, it's number 4, Hodgson, at the club chicane this time round. Walker leads. Oh, so Hodgson did something there. Almost looked as though he missed a gear, or maybe nearly hit the back of Chris Walker, but that has dropped Neil Hodgson down to 3rd. It let Steve Hislop go through. Matt, any ideas?
I think it's the other way around, Barry. I think Chris missed the gear, and Neil had to take avoiding action to miss the rear end.
Well, it was a close call, that's for sure, but the experience of the number 4 Ducati rider kept him out of trouble. It lost him a place. Stalking the stalker now, Steve Hislop, number 8, pushing the Yamaha as hard as he can. Remember, he had a there's a very big twitch. I was about to say, Hislop had a very big crash in qualifying. Walker is on the edge of his tyres, and I'm on the edge of my seat.
This is into the Goodwood section round the back. It's 4th, 5th gear corner, anywhere between 140 and 150 mile an hour. And Steve Hislop is absolutely amazing round that. It's the fastest part of the circuit, and he's absolutely on it.
He is so brave, the red Yamaha, number 8. Round the outside, of course, it's a further distance to go round the perimeter, as anyone who draws circles will tell you. But he's now chopped back on the inside, and a huge wobble from the front end of the Suzuki as we ride with Chris Walker. The meteoric Yamaha went past Walker on the Suzuki, and it's Hodgson. You saw Hodgson's hand going on the clutch there as he went down the gearbox into the club chicane. 2nd gear through here, but it's the Yamaha leading of Steve Hislop, 11 times Isle of Man TT winner. And smoke from Crawford Suzuki running in 4th. Now, is that smoke coming from... No, it's coming from outside of the exhaust system. Is it throwing oil on the circuit? Crawford is unaware of that smoke. Surely the other riders behind him will be concerned about that. It's spewing oil. It looks as though it's oil spillage, Matt.
Yeah, there's got a very big problem there, but he's not lost any power. John's not aware of the problem at all yet at all. Just hoping to get some feedback. We've got a bit of a slide on there. That might give him inclination to look down, spot the smoke, and then pull straight over, hopefully.
Is it throwing oil onto the rear tyre? Oh, he's tweaked it.
He's spotted it.
Goodness for that. Crawford, the hand up, and the organisers, of course, will be concerned just in case that's Suzuki. He is so frustrated. But the race goes on at the front. And, oh, there's a red flag. Red flag. So Raceway in for another 2-part race here at Thruxton in round 6. And John Crawford Suzuki has expired. Now, quickly, Matt, can he go back and get on the spare bike?
Yeah, they've only had like 2 or 3 laps, Barry, so if he can get back to pits, Chris has just picked him up. There's no way I'd get on the back of a bike with that man. Not all the money in the world.
No proper footrest either. You can see John Crawford's feet just poked on the swinging arm there, and he's perched on what would have been a rear seat had it been a road bike. Superbikes, of course, based on road machinery, but it has a true racing hump, and Crawford's got out again. He starts across furthest from you on pole position on his spare Suzuki, but again it's Chris Walker, number 2, who gets the drop from Neil Hodgson. Into 3rd this time goes John Crawford on his spare bike, the number 11. He's sitting there, and a bad start from pit lane. Out of pit lane came Michael Rutter. Number 31, Michael Rutter, started from pit lane. Any ideas, Matt?
He must have had a problem, so he couldn't have done the warm-up lap, so he must have started from the pit lane. You have to let the pack lead by the first corner, then he's able to rejoin the race.
Well, numbers 31 and 96, Michael Rutter and Paul Young, respectively, riding the Ray Stringer Yamahas, have not had a happy season so far. They are lacking something in terms of power and speed, and we've yet to see the best from the other Yamaha pairing. Not the case of Brown and Hislop. And look at Hislop. There's Paul Brown as well, running strongly at the front, side by side. It's Hodgson and Walker. And I suspect in the early days of this championship, this is what we're going to see. These two at it, hammer and tongs. Neil Hodgson would love to win this domestic championship. There is some rumour that his team might be looking at World Superbike for next year. But of course, first what he has to do is lift the domestic crown, ideally.
Yeah, that will be perhaps part of his contract. We've got 18 laps to go. Just see if Neil can keep it at the front.
Number 8, Steve Hislop, now stalking John Reynolds. John Reynolds has had 2 wins from 5 starts and he still leads the championship. He is far too experienced, far too wily to throw caution to the wind. He's just going to sit there in 3rd place. Having said that, he's just lost 3rd place to Steve. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. That was close. Hislop was showing his front wheel to John Reynolds. Round the outside, another fastest lap from Steve Hislop. They almost touched through there. Hislop is unbelievable here today, and I think there's still more to come from the Yamaha. What a great job they've done, and what a transformation over the Yamahas of last year.
Yeah, it was the first year for the brand new bike, Barry, so it takes a year to get the best out of the bike. This year, they're just making the most of it. And look, Steve's looking even stronger again. He's back up to 2nd place.
Well, there were some reliability problems with the Yamaha last year as we look at the back end of Steve Hislop from Chris Walker. Chris Walker putting his knee on the tarmac, a little Teflon slider on the leathers there, using his knee, if you like, as a dipstick so he knows how far he is over on the surface. There is no sign yet of adverse weather conditions. They're still forcing on, but it is cold and gloomy and the occasional spot of rain. But Hodgson now running extremely strongly. Unlike round 5, this is not a 2-part race. This was a brand new restart over the full 20-lap distance. So 25 points are there for the asking for Neil Hodgson, and 20 points currently is where Hislop is sitting. Up to 3rd goes John Reynolds, number 3. Hislop is going for the big one here. Can he get the Yamaha on the drag up the hill? This will be interesting how the Ducati and the Yamaha compare for speed up Woodham Hill towards the chicane. Hodgson's got the verdict.
Yeah, he's got back in front. Steve was just looking on the inside, but Neil looked very, very strong on the brakes into the chicane.
These two, the best of friends, of course. They both live in the Isle of Man. They both ride motocross bikes together. They go out practicing. They are real buddies. But when the lights go green, all of that camaraderie ends because they are fierce rivals on track. 15 laps to go. 1/4 race distance covered, and John Reynolds has gone scything past Chris Walker again. Chris Walker not having it all his own way, but he gives 150% all of the time, and he's now coming under some pressure from number 5, James Hayden, as Hodgson gets a huge wobble alongside. They are so brave, unbelievably brave and committed, I think that is the word.
Yeah, Steve's got the inside line now. I think, is he going to keep it? No. Neil's gone round the outside, a long way round.
John Reynolds in 3rd place, number 3, just sitting there waiting for something dramatic to happen to the Ducati and the Yamaha. Another twitch from Hislop, as now Neil Hodgson, number 4, beginning to stretch the advantage. You can see 4 or 5 lengths, but where Hislop comes into his own is round the back end of the circuit. Already going into the complex, he's beginning to close on the Ducati. He's now reduced that advantage to 1 length, and this is where Hislop is oh so strong. And again, I just marvel, as through into 3rd on the outside of Reynolds. We're looking now with Chris Walker. Has he got it? Yes, he has. At the club chicane again, Chris Walker back into 3rd.
Did he make that stick or what? He made so much ground up there. It was really, really impressive move just to get 3rd place.
Reynolds and Hayden, numbers 3 and 5, sitting in 4th and 5th place respectively, and these 5 now breaking away again. There's another battle royal going on further down the order. Less than a second separating the top 5, so it's still very much anyone's race with over half distance still to go. But Neil Hodgson now just beginning to ease away and looking extremely smooth. Is Hodgson on target for his first win in the 2000 season, and his first, he will certainly hope, of many? He's a good... Oh, there's Mackenzie, former 3 times champion Neil Mackenzie into the pits.
He must have a problem there, Barry, to come to the pit lane. Very unlike Neil to pull in from a race. Whether it be tyres or mechanical problem, we're not sure yet.
Well, Hodgson's teammate, of course, Neil Mackenzie, and it's fair to say that he's taken some time to adjust to the Ducati. Won't have ridden the Italian V-twin at all in his career, so it's a whole new learning curve for Neil Mackenzie. Not so for Hodgson. He rode Ducati in World Superbike. He rode 500 two-strokes in Grand Prix, so he's got a lot of experience on very fast machinery. How fit, Matt, do you have to be to ride at this pace?
Very fit. I think Chris just gone a bit wide there, coming to the chicane a little bit too hard. All these people, it's so hard to explain how hard the new train. You've got to be very fit. Neil's just put his hand up there, whether it's a few spits of spot of rain. Yeah, we've got a few rain drops on the lens there, Barry, so...
That was interesting. Hodgson put his hand up. Let me tell you, the organisers here have agreed with the top 5 riders that if any 2 of them are unhappy about the conditions, 2 of them indicate the race will be stopped. Hodgson again gesticulating. So clearly Hodgson, and it's more difficult to run at the front when the conditions are unknown. You don't have anyone to... Oh, so there's your 2. There, the 2 indicating the track is now getting unrideable. The organisers will now... Oh, you can
big
see
feedback there, Barrett. A lot of rear end slide. Obviously, it looks quite damp. Now, these lads are race week in, week out. They know the conditions. Good move.
That is now a result, so Hodgson indeed gets the win. It's a universal stoppage all the way around the circuit. Hodgson gets the win. He's lighting up the rear tyre with delight. Hislop too was running well. He's got trouble fighting his way through the fog. That won't do the tarmac any good, but there you have the confirmation of the result. Hodgson, Hislop, Reynolds, Hayden, Walker 5th. He'll be disappointed with that, and that's what it does to the championship. Reynolds now just 6 points clear of Hodgson. They're in rival teams, same bike. Top privateer today, winning both races from a 3rd row start, John Crockford on the GSXR 750 Suzuki.
Yes, how often has the weather made the headlines?